Most people spend their entire lives racing toward a finish line that doesn't exist. They wake up measuring themselves against strangers on screens. They count likes, followers, salaries, possessions. They turn life into a competition they never agreed to enter. And the irony? The moment you start competing, you've already lost. Not because you're weak, but because you've handed control of your peace to people who don't even know you exist. If you're watching this, you've probably felt it. That exhausting need to prove yourself. That constant comparison that drains your soul. But what if I told you the most powerful people in history never competed at all? What if silent superiority isn't about winning, but about refusing to play the game entirely? Before we go deeper, hit subscribe. This channel exists for those who think differently, who crave substance over noise. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only at what he does himself." Think about that. The Emperor of Rome, the most powerful man on earth, telling us to stop watching others. Why? Because comparison is a thief. It steals your focus, your energy, your sense of self. We compare because we're afraid. Afraid we're not enough. Afraid we're falling behind. Social media turned this fear into an industry. Every post is a highlight reel, every story a carefully crafted illusion. And we scroll, absorbing these fragments, building a prison in our minds where everyone else is winning and we're barely surviving. But here's the truth they won't tell you. The people you're comparing yourself to are comparing themselves to someone else. It's an infinite loop of inadequacy that no one escapes by playing along. Epictetus taught his students a brutal lesson. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Stop performing for an audience that isn't watching. Stop competing in games that don't matter. The moment you withdraw your attention from the race, something shifts. You reclaim the energy you were bleeding into pointless comparisons. You redirect it inward, toward the only competition that counts, becoming better than you were yesterday. Silent superiority starts with a simple question: superior to whom? If your answer involves anyone but your past self, you're still trapped. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't measure success by external validation. They measured it by virtue, by character, by how well they lived according to their principles. Seneca spent years in exile, stripped of power and status. He could have spent that time bitter, comparing himself to those who had what he lost. Instead, he wrote some of the most profound philosophical works in history. He focused on what he could control: his thoughts, his responses, his growth. That's the difference. Most people are so busy looking sideways, they never look inward. They never ask, am I living with integrity? Am I growing? Am I at peace? Create your own metrics, not based on what impresses others, but what builds you. Maybe it's reading one page more than yesterday. Maybe it's responding to anger with calm. Maybe it's choosing solitude over shallow connection. These aren't Instagram-worthy achievements. No one will applaud, but they compound. Day after day, these small internal victories create a foundation so solid that external chaos can't shake it. And here's what happens when you stop competing. You start creating. Competition is reactive. You're always responding to what others do. Creation is proactive. You're building something uniquely yours. The world has enough copies. It needs originals. People who aren't trying to be the best version of someone else, but the truest version of themselves. Let's bring this home. Never competing doesn't mean you lack ambition. It means your ambition is directed inward, not outward. It means you're not running someone else's race. You've designed your own path based on your values, your purpose, your vision. And you walk it with quiet confidence, unbothered by who's ahead or behind, because those directions don't exist in your world anymore. Never comparing doesn't mean you ignore excellence. It means you study it without diminishing yourself. You learn from others without measuring your worth against them. You appreciate their journey without abandoning yours. This is silent superiority, not arrogance, not isolation, but a deep, unshakable knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. No external validation required, no competition necessary. Marcus Aurelius died alone in a military camp, far from Rome's glory. But his meditations, written for no audience but himself, have guided millions for 2,000 years. That's the power of ignoring the crowd and focusing on what matters. So stop competing. Stop comparing. Start building. Subscribe for more insights that cut through the noise. The path of silent superiority is lonely at first, but it's the only one that leads to lasting peace.